Wayne Malcolm, the Business Bishop. Coming to you each week with coaching tips packed with spiritual intelligence for smart entrepreneurs. Bishop Wayne is a Christian leader and a business development coach who specializes in blessed ways to do business in the modern world. He claims that business is a spiritual game and a mind sport for smart entrepreneurs, and that those who win the inner game have a strategic advantage over those who don't. There are blessed ways to do business and bad ways to do business. In this podcast, Bishop Wayne shares the blessed principles and practices that deliver the best outcomes for enlightened entrepreneurs. Are you ready? Then let's go in.
Hi friends, and welcome to the Blessed Business Podcast with me, your host, Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the Business Bishop, where I get to share my best and blessed business coaching tips with you. I'm sure that you've enjoyed the program so far. I'm certainly enjoying making these programs and sharing my best and blessed business coaching tips with you. Well, today I'm going to dive into a very important subject, a subject that I'm very passionate about, and a subject that I hope you'll become equally passionate about. I want to talk about scaling your business, and I'm going to entitle this episode, Why Companies Fail to Scale. Why do companies fail to scale? So I guess before I go into why they fail to scale, I should explain what scaling really is. Now, I have my own definition for scaling, and that definition is that to scale your business means to multiply your reach, revenue, and results in record-breaking time, okay? In this respect, scaling has to do with intentional exponential growth. It's not the same as organic growth. The truth is that, if you stay in business long enough, and if your products and services are good and your marketing's okay, you are going to grow somewhat organically. When it comes to organic growth, it looks like a company turning over 100,000 in a year, and the next year they've turned over 150,000, or perhaps the year after that it's gone up to 200,000. Well, that's going to happen organically if you stay in business long enough. Scaling is not the same as organic growth. Scaling is the intentional exponential growth of your business. It's multiplying your reach, your revenue, and your results in record-breaking time. So an example of scaling would be a company that was turning over 100,000 in a year that now begins, that in the space of 1 year turns over 1 million. Or if you were turning over 1 million, you scale to 10 million or 10 million to 100 million. Whatever the case, scaling is intentional and it is exponential growth. And it is absolutely the dream of every business owner to scale the business. Of course, who wouldn't want to go from 100,000 turnover to 1 million? Is there anyone out here that doesn't want to make your first million in business? Absolutely not. Everyone wants to do that. And companies that are currently turning over 1 million, they want to scale to 10 million. But of all the companies that want to scale, there are very few that do. And I want to discuss today why it is that companies and businesses fail to scale. Are you ready? Now, look, if I didn't tell you already, I want you to subscribe or follow whatever platform you're either viewing or listening to this podcast on. I want you to go ahead and follow if you like our content, and then do notify your family, friends, and networks about the Blessed Business Podcast, because there are some good and blessed coaching tips right here for you. So let's get to it. Why do companies fail to scale? And there are four basic reasons why companies fail to scale. And I'm going to go through them, and each of them is going to start with the letter S, okay? The letter S. So number one, they fail to scale if they have little or no structure. Little or no structure. And when I say structure, I mean departmentalizing the core or key functions of your business. So in every business, there are key functions, core functions. In fact, when I look at a business and I look at its core functions, I pretty much bracket everything under 4 headings. So here are the 4 headings. Number 1 is production, and number 2 is marketing, and number 3 is delivery, and number 4 is administration. Now, these are umbrella headings, and here's what they mean. Production simply means that you have to have something to sell. Now, whether it's a product or a service, you have to have something to sell, and that's a key core function of your business. Now, whether you manufacture the product or you source the product or you offer a service, I put it all under the heading production. It's a key core function of your business. But not only must you have something to sell, you have to have buyers. You have to have people to sell it to. And that comes to the second core or key function of your business, and that is marketing and sales. Now, marketing is everything you do to generate a sale, but effective marketing is evidenced by your sales. And so marketing and sales, they are a core function of your business. And then there's delivery. So not only must you have something to sell and someone to sell it to, you're going to have to deliver the products, the services, complete with all of the customer service and the support. You're going to have to deliver that, and that's a core function of your business. It's delivery. And then finally, there's administration, and that's a core key function of your business because you have compliances, you have some rules and some regulations, you have documentation and paperwork and invoices and bookkeeping and stock taking, and all of that falls under admin and finance. So when you think about these 4 key or core functions of the business, structure means that you have departmentalized each of the functions so that you have a department for production, you have a department for marketing, you have a department that's responsible for delivery, and you have a department that is responsible for your business administration. See, because if you don't have a department in your business that's responsible for all of the production issues, and a department that's responsible for all the marketing and sales issues, and a department that's responsible for delivery and customer service and support, and a department that's responsible for administration, then who's responsible for all of it? You're responsible for all of it. And you will very quickly become overwhelmed and exhausted by your own business because you'll be the octopus with a hand in everything. You're responsible for the production, the marketing, the sales, the delivery, the customer service, the support, the administration. It will all be you. So companies fail to scale if they don't have structure in their business. And structure means departmentalizing the key or the core functions. All right, here is the second reason why a business fails to scale. It is because they have little or no systems. Yep, I said it, systems. So we got structure, but now what we need is systems. So what's a system? A system is a set of processes. A set of processes, and a process is a sequence of actions, tasks, activities necessary to secure a desired outcome. So, a good business, a scalable business, has processes for all of the departmental objectives. So that when it comes to production, there's a process involved. There's a defined and documented sequence of steps for ordering stock, for how we keep our stock, or for booking appointments with potential clients. All of this, there's a sequence of steps. These are processes. And your set of processes that interface and interconnect with each other are called your system. And so if you don't have a system for production, if you don't have a system for marketing and sales, if you don't have a system for delivery, you don't have a system for administration, then who's responsible for all of it? You are responsible for all of it. And again, you are the octopus who has a hand in absolutely everything. And of course, it's bound to fail. It will overwhelm you and exhaust you. And I've even known of people that grew to hate their own business because of how much it took out of them, how much it was taking from them, the time it was taking from them, the money it was taking from them, the energy it was taking from them. They were working every hour that God sent, and they were coming home, crashing out on the couch, exhausted, only to start the whole thing all over again. What does that reveal? It reveals an absence of structure and an absence of systems. All right, the third reason why companies fail to scale is that they have little or no staff. So staffing is the third of the S's. And what that means is that you're going to need people to operate and manage your processes. You're going to need people to operate and manage your processes. And look, if you're going to scale, you cannot scale as a one-man band, right? It's simply impossible. Solopreneurs cannot scale. You have to somewhat exit the business operationally so that you're no longer working in it as much, but that you're actually working on it. And in order to work on your business, you're going to need structure, you're going to need systems and sets of processes, but you're going to need people to operate and to manage those processes. Now, this doesn't always mean that you're employing, all of these people. You may have one or two people that are in your employment. You may have some that are part-time in your employment. You may have some people who are on zero hours. You may use freelancers. You may even outsource some of the processes, the operation of the processes to a company that specializes in those particular things. And of course, you can utilize software and technology to operate and manage some of the processes in your business systems. Whatever the case, you're going to need staff, and without staff, you simply cannot scale. All right, the fourth S, in terms of why it is that companies fail to scale, is standards. Yeah, I said it, standards. What do I mean by standards? I mean that there has to be a way that you measure the performance of your people and your processes. There has to be a way to measure that, which means you're going to need information, you're going to need data, you're going to need reports that you can read, you're going to need triggers that tell you that things are not quite working the way that they should be working. And so these standards are typically referred to as key performance indicators, or KPIs, key performance indicators, that will tell you how well, how effective are your processes and how efficient is your systems. Now, I want you to think about it. If you have structure in your business, which means you've departmentalized the core functions so that there's a department for everything, and you have systems in place or sets of processes so that actually there is a definitive and documented way to do particular things, then of course the staff that you bring in are going to be much more productive and effective because they're not having to guess or try to figure out what to do and how to do it, because there's a standard operating procedure. There's a manual for each of your systems that documents the process, and they'll understand the process and they'll be able to work the system. And then, of course, without standards, like if you don't have these things in place, then what does scaling really mean? What does scaling really look like? So a lot of teachers out there and coaches and trainers who will teach you how to scale a business. And what they fundamentally mean is that they're going to teach you how to multiply your revenue, right? Well, the only way to multiply your revenue is fundamentally to multiply your reach, okay? And to attract new customers or to upsell existing customers, which creates delivery issues. Basically, if you were to scale the business without structure, without systems, without staffing, and without standards, that business would completely overwhelm you. It will completely exhaust you, and all of the standards will begin to fall so that you're over-promising now and you're under-delivering. You're delivering in the middle of the night when you should be sleeping. All of the freedoms that you went into business in order to achieve are now taken away from you. Your time is taken away from you. Your freedom of mobility, the freedom to go where you want, when you want, to stay as long as you want, that's been taken away from you. And your freedom of expression is taken away from you because you can't even work on the business to perfect and polish these processes. So only when a business has these things in place can it truly multiply its reach. It can truly multiply its revenue. It can truly multiply its results, but only when it has those things in place. So someone said to me, well, Bishop, how do I even go about putting those things in place? What is it that I need to do? What's the first steps to putting certain things in place? Well, it all starts with looking, number one, at the core or the key functions of your business, okay? And I tend to bracket it under these 4 headings, looking at the functions. And as you look at the functions and you kind of put the word production, at the top of the page, then begin to make a list of everything that it takes to have something to sell, okay? Make that list and make the list as detailed as you can. What it takes to have something to sell. And exactly what needs to be done in what order in order to have those things to hand. You do the same for your marketing. All right, so here's the key function. This is going to be a department that's responsible for delivering on this. And what we're going to do is list all of the actions that need to be taken in sequential order in order to secure the outcome. You go through all the key functions and you do that. Now, here's what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're saying, but look, I don't have anyone right now. I'm just on my own, and we're barely staying afloat. And here you want me to think about a big business. Yes, I want you to go ahead in your mind and begin to map out your business based on your vision and your faith. Not based on your current circumstance, but based on where you're going. Begin to design your business. Because you see, a business, a business that blesses you, that blesses your life, your lifestyle, and your legacy for generations to come. It is fundamentally a work of art. A work of art. It's like a song. It's like a book. It's like a painting. And you're going to build it in stages, all right? And it may take 6 months to build. It may take 6 years to build. There are works of art that have taken even longer before the artist was able to step back and say, wow, look at what I have done. And they're able to step back and then put it on display so that other people can say, wow, look at what you've done. And you have to begin to think of your business in exactly the same way. It's a work of art, and you're going to build it over a period of time. These things do not happen overnight, and these things must not happen overnight. Now, I'm going to explain to you why they mustn't happen overnight and why you should, take your time in building your business structures, systems, staffing, and your standards. It is because in business, the only way to succeed, right, is to fail forward. Now, I'm going to say it again. The only way to succeed is to fail forward. The only thing is that as entrepreneurs, we don't call it failure. We don't think of it as failure. We think of it as feedback, and we think of it as testing and tweaking. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be testing your processes, all right? And you're going to find some of them are very effective and some of them are not so very effective. And the ones that are not so very effective, you're going to tweak them a little bit and you're going to test them again. And you're going to be in the stage of constantly testing your processes until you find a process that absolutely works, that delivers on the objectives of the department. And once you've done this, now you can document that and say, this is the process. And that's why your years as a solopreneur are critical. As a solopreneur trying to build a business by yourself, you should become a student of all the feedback you are getting. Because there are some fundamentals, and I'm gonna drop the biggest fundamental on you right now. Here's the fundamental. The market is always right. The market is always right. If people are not buying from you, it's you that needs to tweak your offer, tweak your product or your service, tweak the way that you're delivering. And so the market is constantly giving you feedback. And it's telling you that things can be polished and things can be perfected. So you use your years as a solopreneur to build a system that absolutely works. Now that you've tested it, you've tweaked it, you've perfected it, you've polished it, and you know that it works, it all goes into a document called a standard operating procedures. And it goes into this document so that when you bring staff in, the staff are not having to guess, they're not having to figure out what do I do next. They know exactly what to do, in what sequence and in what order. And if staff are not performing, right, instead of you going to the staff, in some sort of emotional rage, okay, what you do is you look at your staff and you say, did you follow the procedure? Did you follow the process? And when the answer comes back as no, you say, okay, look, well, that's where we start. The process has been fine-tuned over several years, and it's critical that you follow the process. And this way, you're going to get more out of them. And this way, you're going to find that your systems are efficient and your processes are effective. They're being operated and managed well. And when that becomes the case, and you now launch a campaign to enlarge your territory, to go into new markets, or to go up market with your offers and start selling elite premium services and products to elite customers, and you decide you're going to start to do all these wonderful things that are going to bring in new customers, are going to bring in new revenue, then you know that those new customers are coming into a system that is working in your absence. And this is the miracle. This is really what you need to be aiming for as a business owner. You want to be working towards being present in your absence. Present in your absence. I'm going to close with a story. Okay, this is a little story. So I'm not in my usual studio, as you can see. I'm actually out of the country, and I went with a friend to a restaurant yesterday. And when we went into the restaurant, I immediately put on my commercial and entrepreneurial spectacles, and I began to play my entrepreneurial games, right? So I like to keep my entrepreneurial senses sharp by playing these entrepreneurial games. And those of you that come on to the Blessed Business Challenge, I'll explain exactly how you sharpen your entrepreneurial senses. But I walked in and I began to look around at the restaurant. I began to notice how many people were working and what their particular roles were. I noticed their uniforms. I noticed the decor and the aesthetics of the room. I noticed the menu, and I noticed the pricing, and I began noticing all of these things. And what I could see was a very beautiful environment for a food-based experience. And then the penny dropped. The penny dropped. And here's the penny that dropped. The owner isn't here. Ooh, The owner isn't even here. And then I begin to think, where might the owner be? The owner might be playing golf. The owner might be on holiday. The owner might be in a corporate strategy meeting in a head office in another city. The owner could be halfway around the world. The owner, the creator, is not even here. But I realized that he or she was fully present in their absence. And the reason they were fully present in their own absence is because they had structures, they had systems, they had staff that understood the operating procedures and processes, and they had standards that everyone was working to, checks and balances. And that's why the owner didn't even have to be there. And see, when it comes to your business dreams, your business goals, your business objectives, the whole idea is that you build something that works in your absence. So you can be present in your absence, and in your absence, you can be present where you want to be with the people that matter more to you than the money. Well, look, I know that was a lot to digest. That was a lot to take in. There's a lot to consider. And my recommendation is you go over the podcast and begin to, kind of pick it apart, make some notes, do your own investigations, get onto Google, get onto YouTube, get onto ChatGPT if you need to, and kind of explore these concepts, because then you're going to get many other expert voices confirming to you that your business can scale. It absolutely can scale. It's happening all the time, but it will fail to scale in the absence of structures, systems, staffing, and standards. All right, I trust you've had a great time at the Blessed Business Podcast today. And I don't want you to go away, because I have an important announcement coming up for you right now. Hello, friends. This is Bishop Wayne Malcolm, otherwise known as the Business Bishop. Did you know that in Genesis chapter 1, let there be light is the first order in creation, and it is always the first stage in the creative process. For entrepreneurs and business owners, this describes the strategy stage in the development of your business. It's where entrepreneurs begin to work out who they can serve, how they're going to serve them, and how they're going to make tons of profits in the process. Strategy, your business strategy, is a fundamental pillar of business success. Now, I've written a 20-page report. It's a quick read report because I like simple. I don't like complex and complicated. So it's a quick read, but it really does explore and unpack the essentials of a great business strategy. And I feel like every business needs to go back to the strategic stage. So much has changed in the last 5 years that virtually every business has become a startup, because you're having to reinvent yourself. You're having to innovate. You're having to make strategic changes to how your business operates and where your business operates. And so it doesn't matter how long you've been in business. Right now, in the face of all the disruption that we've experienced in the last 5 years, you are fundamentally a startup. And so this report will serve you well. I want you to go right now to the page, or just click below and download your free copy. Once you've gotten that copy, have that quick read and holler back at me. There's so much more that I want to share with you. God bless you. Hey friends, it's Bishop Wayne Malcolm, and please don't tell me that you haven't yet taken advantage of the courses that are available at Kingdoms University. Listen, if you're serious about being a king and a priest, or about realizing the power and the promise of your dominion and your God-ordained domain, then you have to be equally serious about growing your skill set. You know why? Because God only ever gives to you what you can handle. He doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you can manage. According to Matthew 25, he gave to every man according to his ability. So that if you want more, you have to simply increase your ability. And the good news is that you can increase your ability by becoming intentional and strategic about your own personal and professional development. You have to become good at leadership, developing your leadership skills, your financial skills, your commercial skills, your interpersonal skills, so that you can win friends and influence people. You have to develop your communication skills so that you can become an excellent public speaker and begin creating new worlds with your words. Listen, all of those kinds of courses are available at Kingdoms University. So please, click the link below, go to the website, have a look at what we've got on offer, and do become part of our great family where we are growing and glowing in Jesus' name. God bless you.